Hi, and welcome to the Law Center videocast. I'm Larry DeMarco, your host and founder of the Law Center, home of the Family Court Custody Boot Camp, revolutionizing family court for self-represented litigants. Thanks for joining us today. Please subscribe to the channel, like, share, and comment so more people can learn from the Law Center videos. Today, I have a special guest, Dwiline Lindsay, founder and executive director of Children4Tomorrow. She's author of the book, Revealing the Scars, an inside look at parental alienation. She and her team have an assessment that can detect, separate, and identify the type and nature of what's going on in a high conflict family. She has a heart and passion for families going through divorces, especially the ones in parental alienation situations. Dwiline, thanks for being a guest on the Law Center videocast.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be here.
Honored to have you. Why are you passionate about your work?
I'm passionate about people that are hurting. As a young child, I lost my father at 17 years old, and so I know how it feels to lose a parent. Even though it was not through an alienation situation, it was still hurt and a loss. So I am very passionate about families that are hurting. So,
And tell us, thank you. Tell us about your company, Children4Tomorrow.
So Children4Tomorrow was, we started it in 2009. It's a 501c3. It was myself and my best friend and my daughter that started the organization because of a situation that we were in. And instead of getting angry about it, we did something about it. So we want to help others because of it.
So you said about it. What was the situation that you found yourselves in, if I can ask you to follow?
So at the time, I didn't know what parental alienation was. I called it psychological child abuse, which that's what it is. But as I dug deeper, and I'm a researcher, so I like to research, I learn more about parental alienation. But at the time, it was psychological child abuse, and I was seeing that within some family members. And anyone that reads my book will know my story. But that's where it comes from.
So your daughter, the daughter that you started this with, you were you alienated from her or a different child?
I was never alienated really from my children. It was my two older sons that were going through divorce. And both of them, it's really weird, but both of them were going through a divorce at the same time with alienation. But I didn't know, I just saw the hurt. I saw different patterns of behaviors out of both of the families, and I started recognizing different things, and so I started doing more research about it. And
you're an alienated grandparent, which can be just as bad, of course.
Yes. But getting angry about something is not going to help it. You just need to do something about it and be positive about what you're doing. So that's what I did.
So tell us about in what space Children4Tomorrow operates. Who does it help, and what does it do?
So we help all sorts of people, not just the alienation. We help parents. We have a parenting class for parents, and it's a court accredited. We also have some online training for teachers that can get their continuing education credits. And we do the assessment to help detect what's going on in high conflict families. And we have a little clinic here that we use for parents that really can't afford, and it's on a sliding scale. So we try to, help as much as we can.
You're is it Houston, Texas? I know
We're
in
in
Texas.
Houston, Texas. Yes, we're located in Houston, Texas, but we can help, and we found this out, that we can help people all over the place. We've done cases in Austin. We've done cases in Arkansas, other states. We've been able to do our assessments. So we were really excited about that piece. We do a lot of our stuff, a lot of our therapy pieces online, but there's a one place within the organization when we do the assessment, they have to come to Houston, but it's just for one day. So we will be able to give the assessment to the families in other states if they want to come to Houston for that one day. But for the parenting classes, they can do online. For the teachers, they can do online. We do face-to-face or online. So we try to accommodate people that's not from Houston.
Great. What is your role with the company?
So I oversee the programs within the organization. I oversee mental health professionals, the legal people. So I do status hearings. I'm involved with the writings of the programs. I'm involved with all of the team meetings that we have. I wear a lot of hats.
Great. Mainly administration and a founder of the company, of course.
Yeah. Yes.
So I heard that you do assessments and that you get involved in courts and are forensic support to that degree. And you also mentioned that you have parenting classes. Is there also any type of one-on-one support or mental health therapy and treatment that you provide in your group?
Yeah, we have several different licensed mental health professionals that run our little clinic, that do take face-to-face, or some of them are telehealth, but we do therapy within the organization.
You have written a book and have been on a team writing a LEAP program and a CFAT assessment. Let's start with the book. Tell me about the book.
Well, so the book, I just kind of had a heart for the target parent, and I wanted to dedicate the book to my grandkids. And so I kind of talk in the book. I use parallel stuff. I don't use people's names. I use a garden. I use things that when I grew up, because I grew up in a pretty healthy family. So I kind of show how a healthy family looks, and then how a family that's not healthy looks. And I kind of talk about, how we can get the awareness out. And I show my passion for the target parent. But as I was writing the book, I also became passionate, or not really passionate, but had some feelings for the alienated person, because they had their own childhood trauma. So I recognized that, and that was where I thought, if we could help the whole family, and this is kind of how our complex family assessment and treatment program came about, because I feel like we have to heal the whole family. We have to assess the whole family. You can't just do one or two people. We have to do the whole family to find out what's going on with the family. So that's kind of how everything evolved.
So you have that assessment. Where does the healing come in terms of procedure?
So we do a lot of forensic. In fact, we probably spend on each case, we use a team of mental health professionals on the team, and we also bring in some interns from universities like Pepperdine University, UT, some other universities that parallel along with us, and we're training them. So my thought was to get awareness out also, and help these mental health professionals learn more about how to treat and how to assess parental alienation. So we have this team that comes together, and we all decide what's going on, who's doing what, and we have a report at the end. And at the end of the report, we give a treatment report. And that's where the treatment pieces come in, because each person within the family needs their own piece of treatment.
So it's in the recommendations after the assessment that you provide that really you need a specialist like in your organization to be able to make that recommendation.
Right.
Now, can you tell us about the LEAP program that for which your team is writing or written?
Okay, so the LEAP program is more towards the parent, and that's one of the first things that we make parents that come into the assessment for the CFAT program. We make them go to the LEAP program. So
what does LEAP stand for? That acronym?
So it's learning about emotions and parenting. So it's not your normal parenting, but it's accredited with the court. So they use it, they use our parenting classes also. But our main purpose of that class is to let some people, because when people come into the class, we teach them about their normal. And a lot of people do things because that's how they were raised. And we're seeing this when we assess that not only is alienation in this family, but it's been in families before, their family before, like grandparents or whatever. And so if we can give them an understanding of this is not normal, and this is what happened to me, and this is what you're doing to your children, then they sometimes, and not all the time, but sometimes people go, oh, ding, 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 I'm doing this to my kids. And so we kind of like give them a wake-up call in that class.
Great. Now, the CFAT, Complex Families Assessment and Treatment, what is that? Can you get a little bit into the nuts and bolts of that? We don't have any exhibits set up, but you gave me a very detailed list. If you want to discuss that in some detail.
Okay.
I'd love to hear it.
So the Complex Family Assessment and Treatment Program has to be ordered by the courts because you're dealing with two people that cannot get along. And so we first they come in and they have to give us a lot of documentation because we probably spend about 400 to 500 hours on one case with a team of people. We do a forensic piece. We check into CPS. We do police reports, any other mental health professionals that people have encountered with. We talk to mom and dad. We just do a lot of different things to come to our diagnosis.
Let me just jump in. Did you say 400 to 500 hours on one case? Over
on
what
one
time?
Case.
That is so dramatic or significant. Over what time period is that done? That's 400 to 500.
12 to 14 weeks. We try to do it. Now, sometimes we go a little longer. Depends on each case is a little bit different because there's more, we have more information, but we check out everything. I mean, like we probably have 4 or 5 different people on one case. So me, myself, I average about 115 to 112 hours per case myself. That and me, I'm not even the mental health professional.
How are the costs not astronomically exorbitant for such intensive manpower hours?
Yes. So like I said, we use interns on the cases. They're part of the team and they do a lot of the forensic for us, like checking out this, we do have mental health professionals that are walking alongside them. Like I said, we're a nonprofit. We try to help. So our hours are basically volunteer hours. And the people that get paid are mental health professionals. Yeah.
I interrupted you. I apologize, but I wanted to make sure we didn't skate over that. That's such an amount of time. So it's a 12-week program, 12 weeks, and you said you put in 100, so and you have a team of 5, so that averages out to about 100 hours per. So 2.5 weeks each of you are putting into one family. So I interrupted you. I hope I didn't cause you to lose your spot.
No. This is our passion. I eat, sleep, and drink this. When I take a family, I take it on as my own family. I want the family to be healed, and I want these children to be able to move forward as adults and to be healed. And that's my whole purpose.
So I don't know if I'm getting into too much detail with you if I ask this, but can you break down what's being done in all that time? Again, you can even refer to that exhibit if you have it handy, but your the details and nuts and bolts behind what's going on. For instance, I know you collect the history and symptoms. and there's a you have them take some questionnaires. If you could just give us a little idea of what's happening in such a
So during the family session, this is the one day, it's probably starts about 9 in the morning and ends about 5:30 or 6 at night with the family. We take I'm just going to use this for example. We take father and the children at the beginning of the first half of the day, and then mom and the children the second half of the day. So during that piece, we are looking at, we're observing. The mental health professionals are doing their therapy piece during that time. We have our interns that are sitting back. They're taking notes. They're doing observing, because when we get through, we all come together in the meeting and we all put in what we took in for that day. And during that day, we also do the scarf. It's structured. Oh, gracious. I should have got it out, but it's
that's okay. Structured child. Unfortunately, I have it right in front of me. Structured child assessment of relationship and families. I have it all. It's so detailed, and I don't keep going, please.
This guy, he is so good that wrote this program. It's he and his wife, and he has donated us to have the booklets, the assessment booklets, and then we have to pay. We send it off to third party to do the actual results, but we can tell through that, just that one thing, and this is what the children take. Through that one survey, we will be able to say if this is alienation, because they have graphs. And usually alienation has, one parent is all good and one parent is all bad. So you have this graph, and there's this big space between the graphs to show that there's alienation there. Not all of our cases are alienation. We've had several cases that aren't.
Dwilene, if I could just jump in, when you say they fill out an assessment, the one parent is all good and the other's not bad, you and I know from studying parental alienation theory, that's not a sign that you have an evil parent and a bad parent.
No, that is not.
I'll let you handle. So why not?
So this is a sign of children. So in an alienation piece, the children have to side with one parent or the other, if that makes sense.
Sure
So whenever they're with our assessments, you'll always see that they're rude and ugly to the target parent, and they're just all lovey-dovey to the alienating parent. There's an unhealthy enmeshment or bond with the alienating parent. If a normal person, like when I go to the courts and I tell the judge, you see the person that is just you think that this is a perfect parent, they're bonded with their children, and then you see this crazy parent out there that is just doing all this stuff. I said, that's usually the healthy parent, because they're frustrated because they can't get through to people that what is going on is really happening. And the alienating parent is the parent that is really, they're able to mask, is what I call it, how good they really are, and they aren't. And they're really, it's abuse, it's psychological abuse, and they have this big hold on these children. Yeah.
And that explanation is often because the parent puts conditions upon the love for the child. If you love the other parent, I'll love you less. And therefore, the child actually clings to the parent who is putting this alienation or more pressure on. And that's where the counterintuitive nature of the whole phenomenon comes in.
Yeah.
So you're mainly, if I understand this correctly, when you say court order, you're actually dealing with both families. You're not giving single family support, but people who would want to use your services would have their lawyer argue for this in court, because it doesn't work unless there's cooperation by both sides.
Well, yeah, that's why you have to have court orders. A lot of times the judge will order it, whether they want to do it or not. The judge wants to know what's going on, especially people that have been in their courts for, 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, it's crazy how long these people have been in court and how much money they spent. Like, we have a case right now, they've been in court since the little girl was 4 years old and now she is 16 years old and spent $800,000 or plus. That's just crazy.
Sure.
So we try to get the families out of the court system and into healthiness.
And the recommendations that you make are going to a judge that then a judge would order.
Yes.
Can you give a breakdown as what percentage of the work that you do is from a court order or in conjunction with the court, and what comes to you privately?
Well, you mean for the assessment piece?
Yes,
yeah.
Both.
So,
Break it down, explain the whole gamut.
Okay, so with the assessment piece, it has to go through the judge regardless. So it's 100% judge, or they can go to mediation, but the judge still has to sign the order. So that's 100%. With the people that just come to us just privately to find out who we are, it's probably about 80%. And then our parenting classes are usually recommended by the judge or their attorney or, a mental health professional. So, that's probably 75%.
Okay, so mostly private, but you have that
Yes.
assessment, which is about 20 to 25% or so.
Yeah.
Dwiline, what has been your biggest accomplishment?
So my biggest accomplishment is the assessment, the Complex Family Assessment and Treatment program. And that is where when you have a boulder and you're pushing it up a mountain and it gets to the top, it starts coming down. And that's how I feel, because we were kind of on the cutting edge of this. I don't know anyone that does exactly what we do. And so to prove yourself to even the courts or to people that we can do this was a big accomplishment for somebody to say, hey, use me. And so we had a guy that he said, my only goal is for the judge to sign the orders for me to get the assessment. And I don't expect anything from there. And which was a success. Another success was for me to go back to school, get my second degree. I went through a divorce. My two boys went through a divorce with alienation and had starting a nonprofit and working a business. I mean, that in itself, to get through that was an accomplishment too. So, yeah.
So you gave, and it's going to be in the description portion of this video, a very detailed biography, which I appreciate, and our viewers can go and look at that. So I don't want you to necessarily go through that in detail, but I do have a question. What training did you have that empowered you to write this program with whomever you co-authored? But you did talk about that in the bio, so please share that with us.
So I had a really good friend, professor, Rice University person that helped me, a PhD, and she helped me write. We did 18 months of research and interviewing with people. Yes. And so that was with our LEAP program. Now with the Complex Family Assessment and Treatment, I'm not going to mention any names, but I ran across a video and I was saying, wow, this person is speaking about my situation. How did they know that? They're in California. I'm in Texas. And I got the book and I learned everything that I could learn. I wrote down a notebook, in a notebook. I wrote down all the language, all the scientific stuff. I learned everything. Finally, I wrote to this person and I said, I want to help you. And I didn't expect anything. I mean, that's just me though. And we collaborated, and this doctor helped write our program, which we have tweaked really, really a lot more than what it was. We got basically the skeleton, and we've added to it with my mental health professionals. We have added. I mean, this thing is like, I would stake my life on it. We use a lot of different experts' information to prove what we're doing too. So that kind of gives us credibility. And right now we're doing some research on it. So we will have our own information and published peer-reviewed stuff.
You mentioned that you also train and teach other professionals. Could you share a little bit about that?
So I don't actually do the training. We have our clinical director that does the training because she has the licensing piece. She always tells me, you know more than I do, but I've had many people, experts in in this pathology that's told me, Dwilene, people that have experienced this are experts. And they've said, as much. I mean, because I deal with this for 14 years. I've been dealing with people every day with this type of pathology. So I'm pretty confident in what I know and see. And so, yes. And when our interns come in, I do a lot of one-on-one with them.
Even the teaching that you said your mental health professionals do, might do the classes, but it's actually some of the stuff that you authored, correct?
Yes, exactly. But, I don't have, I guess, the confidence or whatever. I mean, I just feel like I just need it to be more in the professional with the licensing, that kind of thing. So
sure,
we don't get people want to attack you for any little thing. So you have to cross your T's and dot your I's.
Certainly. What are some of your biggest challenges?
I guess in this arena, my biggest challenge is judges and attorneys because they don't understand it. And if they do, they don't know what to do with it. So I have judges call me all the time and say, Dwilene, I have this case, and what do you think I should do? And it's common sense to me, but I tell them. And whether they use it or not, I don't know,
right.
And then your alienated parent, the parent that is alienating these children, they are very complicated people, and they're so hard to do the right thing for their children. And I don't have that. I don't understand that. And I try to treat them as compassionate as I can to find out why can't you do what you need to do for your children, and they just won't do it. And it's sad and frustrating. And I do know that it's because of their own traumas that they have, but they won't get help for it. And so that to me is a challenge.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Dwilene, there's a lot of criticism for custody evaluations that are very expensive, very steep. And a lot of people think it's all hocus pocus and that they're just in it for the money. What does your service cost for 500 hours of manpower time, a portion of it being, doctors and well-educated professionals? What does your service cost?
So our service is $5,000, and that pays for our mental health professionals. I don't get a penny. I have never taken a single penny out of Children4Tomorrow. I sold my house some years ago, and I live off that money. That's how I mean, I have a passion for this. I want to make a difference.
How many hours a week do you dedicate to Children4Tomorrow, and how many weeks out of the year?
I work every single day except for Saturday and Sunday. And some Saturdays I do work. Now, that's at the office. I come to the office. Now, at home, the other night, I had a professional call me. I said, call me at night, because a lot of these professionals, they also, work from morning to light. And then in the evenings, that's when they have time. And I tell them, here's my cell number, call me. And so there's a lot of times that I've, been at home. I mean, a lot of times cases, I will read these cases till midnight. I want to make sure that I am doing the right thing by this family, whatever family we're on. And that's just me.
So 40, 50 hours a week plus?
Oh, yeah, plus. Yeah.
Plus. And
Plus.
Did you say, so you said you never taken anything. So what is your hourly rate, or are you an independent contractor, or how much?
I make I pay myself out of my home that I put it in a special place, and I pay myself about $13,000 to $15,000 a year is what I pay myself.
You pay yourself 13 from what you sold
From
your
my-
house.
Yes, yeah.
But for writing the program, for putting in over 50,000 hours a year, do I understand that you just said you're a volunteer and you do that all for
Basically
free?
a volunteer, yes.
But your vocation is the director of this nonprofit, serving these families and working for the courts.
Yes.
So I guess everyone doesn't do things in family court for the money.
No. But there's very few that don't. I can tell you that. Yeah. And it angers me when people try to act like I'm doing this for the money. If they only knew the truth, I will call people out. If I see it or whatever, I'll just call them and say, do you really know who I am? Do you want me to give you my story? And I will let them know. And then they'll go, I'm so sorry. I didn't know who you were. And I'm sorry. And so,
Well, thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
And for the hard work that you do as a volunteer. Before we close, I would like to let people know that all this information will be in the description portion of this video about how to get in touch with you. But for those people who are listening while they drive or exercising and jogging or folding the laundry, how can people verbally tell us how we can learn more and get in touch with you?
So I will talk to anybody. They can call our office at 713-660-0760, or they can check our website out at www.children4tomorrow.org, or they can email me at Dwilene Lindsay at Children4Tomorrow.org.
Dwilene, thank you. We're going to leave it there. And I want to thank you for being a guest on the Law Center video chat.
Thank you for inviting me. It's my honor.
My pleasure. We have been here with Dwilene Lindsay, and I am your host, Larry DeMarco. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Also, click the notification bell next to subscribe to be alerted of new videos. Go to the description portion of this video when you can learn more about Dwilene and her nonprofit, Children4Tomorrow, and also our revolutionary family court custody boot camp, which will forever transform child custody court one self-represented litigant at a time. Thanks for watching. Signing off. Tune in next time. Bye for now.